Welcome back to Games Revealed. I'm James Nelson the Brink, and today I want to do something a little different. I'm going to be watching a video, and not as a response, but as a reaction slash response. Now, I don't know if I'm going to continue this kind of thing in the future, but if you have anything else that I should watch, you can throw it in the comments below. I'm more than happy if it's interesting enough. I've never seen this one, but I've heard that it's interesting. And let's right before we get into that, make sure to like, subscribe, bash that bell with your crowbar, and also just, keep things respectful. Don't need to go attack anyone if you don't approve of them. But it sounds like there's going to be some things I can at least respond to in this, and so I'm curious. So let's get into it and see what Cody has to say.
Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of blackcatbooks.org.
Hello, Cody. And I had to turn down the volume just as an FYI. Like, this volume was so intense.
Author of the Valve Steam Deck is now upon us. Launching on the 25th of February, this thing was supposed to destroy the Nintendo Switch. It was supposed to make the console obsolete. It was supposed to put Nintendo...
I mean, to be fair, the console's already obsolete, the Switch is, and also the Steam Deck in some ways, as it's using an older architecture, and the Switch was using a 2+ year-old architecture when it came out. So let's call this a draw. They're both out of date.
They're out of business, and Nintendo fans like myself would be crying in their parents' basement or something like that. I don't remember exactly what Oh No It's Alex said, but it was something along those lines. What Review Tech USA said, what any of these people said. I haven't watched these videos videos from those people in months, but what essentially has happened is that the narrative has crumbled, right? What was supposed to happen is that the Switch would be BTFO right out of the gate by this handheld gaming PC.
Okay, so I don't know if actually too many creators actually said that out of the gate it was going to decimate. On paper, it does. In all honesty, like, the Steam Deck is just a better system, both power, amount of games you can play. I don't know. I didn't hear of anything too crazy with the content creators. Now maybe they said, I mean, like me, I definitely think the Steam Deck was going to be a Switch killer for me personally. I use my Switch all the time. I love it. And I use it all, in bed, wherever it is I need it to be used. Let's continue.
But instead, people are observing a lot of very notable issues in regards to this overpriced piece of hardware.
Okay, first off, this is a big one that I've been seeing a lot lately. Price it's not overpriced. The 64 gigabyte version is $399, while the OLED version of the Switch is $349. And do I put the two systems against each other? I do that for everything. I like doing comparisons. That's one of the things I love to do, is just to compare systems, whether or not the communities agree, or if the community, not all Switch players need to play the Steam Deck, vice versa. But I like to have a winner when I'm choosing my type of main system, specifically on the go system. With that price is pretty badass, actually. The $399 for what you get is quite a bit better experience, in my opinion. Like, with great games, you get pretty much every AAA game on it, on the Steam Deck. Yeah, is it going to be run at ultra high? No, you can run it at low and medium. I haven't seen a game that's verified yet that doesn't play decently on the Steam Deck. Where with the Switch, I have played Witcher 3, and it runs like a potato, and I could not. I play a lot of Switch games. I could not get over the Switch one, or the Switch Witcher version, where I've watched people play the Witcher 3 version on the Steam Deck, and it actually looks pretty decent, to be honest. So I would say price-wise alone, you're at least getting a better experience on the Steam Deck, my opinion. And I'm also a PC gamer, so it is kind of a potato kind of thing.
Emulators don't work. The control sticks are drifting.
Been corrected already. That's the only problem about trying to be too up on news, is that if you don't give the news a little bit of time to soak in, you're going to be wrong within a few days sometimes. Like with this one, Valve fixed it with software, with an update. It's been resolved. The emulator thing also, for the most part, has been resolved. I've seen a lot of creators be able to play their Switch games on Uzu just fine. So
not every game on Steam is available. Like, there are all sorts of issues that just have built up to the
Yeah, how many Nintendo games in the past are playable on the Switch? And for what's the cost? Is it your firstborn child? It feels like it. So once again, I'm getting a little reactionary here because it is a little frustrating. Not every Steam game is going to work on Steam Deck. There's thousands of them. That is going to take a long time, if not impossible. But most of the games that are popular, they're working to make sure they work on it, and it might take a little bit more time. This is going to be an ecosystem that takes some time, needs to be cultivated. But even out the gate, it has so much more than the Switch did when it first came out. Once again, not saying the Switch is bad. It's just this is really a hard one to say when you compare games on the systems, in my opinion. Unless you're a first party like Nintendo fan, then 100% I understand the Switch.
point where I don't think anyone would really consider this to be a viable product. The only people I see
I mean, there's only a couple of million people waiting for the Steam Deck, waiting with the reservations, hoping that fulfillment picks up. It's not dead. It came out, people have had it in their hands. We've watched it, we've yearned for it. Most of the people watching this video are probably just yearning for their Steam Deck. And so, and if you're not, awesome. Like, hopefully you enjoy your Switch if you have a Switch or whatever device you have, enjoy it.
seriously picking up Steam Decks are people who review technology professionally. Like that's it. Like Valve fanboys have no need for it because they already have gaming PCs. Like Switch fanboys,
We do like the game on the go, and a lot of us actually have Switches. And me, and I'm a good point on this. I actually really do like my Switch, and I do game on the go a lot, and that's why I have a PC over here and my Switch over there.
aren't going to switch over because you can't legally play Nintendo games on it.
That's actually false. Linus did a pretty good video on, I believe, or maybe it was in his podcast where he talked about the gray area of this, where if you have the game and you have it on a system and playing it, it's a gray area. Meaning, are you going to get arrested? No. But if you start distributing copies of the game, that's when things go from gray to illegal. Any way that you obtain and don't have a copy of that game, then it becomes much more legal, much more illegal. And I'm not a lawyer, so don't so don't at me. But on that, but that's just from my understanding. It's not illegal. It's just it's a gray area.
Like Xbox and PlayStation fans aren't going to get a Steam Deck. They're not just going to magically switch to Steam. Like there's no reason to. Like it's all the same shit. Like the Valve.
I will say this. This is going to be a really long video if I keep this up. I will say this. The reason you would get a Steam Deck, if some people are going to main it, they're going to have it as their main console, PC, whatever it is. I think it's viable for that, especially if you don't have a lot of money. I think this is an amazing deal for a lot of people that want to get into PC gaming and also, let's say, programming, whatever it is. This is a great first step into it. And that's what makes it so intriguing to me as a software engineer that starting out, if I could have gotten into a PC this cheap, that would have been awesome. Like just get a monitor, keyboard, mouse, and gotten into something like this cheap and started programming on it. It'd be awesome. Yeah, there's Raspberry Pis. There's other ways to do it, but you only need one device with this. With console gamers, they like the game on the go too. That's why they have remote play, and a lot of them have Switches. I know plenty of people that have a PS4, PS5, and a Switch. We like to game on the go too. So, and in bed, wherever we want, bed, table, wherever it is.
Now Steam Deck is a new piece of technology in a market that has no real desire for it, right? Like
3 million people say otherwise.
people can bang around all they want about like, oh man, you can pirate all this stuff and do this or that with it, but what it amounts to really,
Most of the people, yes, there's a lot of people that want to emulate, but a lot of people also have a huge Steam library that they want to get through. And I'd say that between emulating and the Steam library backlog, I bet you those are the two main reasons to get one on the go.
when you get right down to it, is that it's an inferior product at a more expensive price in a market
Not much more.
that is already saturated with superior products. Like essentially, there is no demographic for the Valve Steam Deck. The only reason anyone was seriously hyping this thing up was because it was a means to downplay the Nintendo Switch for a few months until the narrative started to shift.
Yeah, there are always going to be assholes on both sides. I will just say this. Full on, there is going to always be an asshole that's going to say, hey, my side's better, we should destroy the other side almost, or there should be no reason for this to exist. And I very much dislike that. I do like I said, I like a comparison and choose which one I think is better, but it doesn't mean that the other one shouldn't exist and that there isn't a market for that one device or that community.
Again until I think now what the industry is trying to do is say that like the Switch 2 is on the horizon and that you shouldn't buy a Switch now or buy any Switch games because like obviously the Super Switch will have like better versions of those same games.
We don't know. When it comes to console companies, we don't know if they're going to do backwards compatibility. We just don't know. We've been screwed over so many times in the past. I think that's why some people want to wait until they get a Switch Pro or Switch 2. I am of the camp that you shouldn't wait, though. If you want a good experience and you can only get one device, Switch is not a bad choice.
Available at launch. Like it's the same thing. We've seen this play out time and time again, like for decades now. The gaming media will not acknowledge Nintendo as the industry leader and only true innovator in the gaming space. Like they will continue hyping up the Steam Deck. They will continue pretending Xbox and PlayStation is relevant. They'll continue doing this or that. Like I've seen Review Tech USA like try to sell people on this thing called an Evercade. I have no idea what the fuck it is, but it's a thing.
Yes, Review Tech USA. His name's so weird to say out loud. I've watched his videos a lot over the years, and he does very bombastic videos at times. Sometimes that's just how you can grow a channel. You sometimes have to throw a little bit of absurdity into it, just like you're doing, Corey. I feel like you're doing a little bit of absurdity into this. But yeah, I agree. He's gone a little far at times on things, but that's just the nature of the internet, I guess.
Thing that exists. I have no idea what it is, but I don't think these kinds of platforms are really going to be relevant in the future. They are going to become increasingly niche. They are going to become increasingly fringe, and Nintendo is kind of going to dominate the mainstream space going forward.
I don't think Nintendo has it in them to dominate it because partially they just don't do a good job of taking care of their customers. I think they're going to always have a place. I just don't think they're going to dominate. Right now, they're dominating mobile 100%. I agree with that. But I think the Steam Deck is indicative of how hungry people are for something different. We want that next Switch. We don't feel like the Switch right now is powerful enough for some of our AAA titles. So in the end, like I don't see Nintendo conquering this, and they've almost died multiple times throughout their life because of stuff they've done like this in the past. I feel like Wii U wasn't a great product, and the Switch is a great product, but their subscription services, their just the way that they're doing business is, I don't think very very kind to their customers, and I think it's making room for competitors. And I do think Sony and Microsoft potentially will get back into the mobile game. I don't think Xbox has really ever been in there, but they have their online streaming service and all that. So
I don't see Steam Deck. Steam Deck is essentially dead on arrival. In other words, like there are too many problems with it. It's too expensive. It's too fringe.
I will admit, I thought this about the Neo and those other devices, which still have a market. They're still doing good. They've released multiple versions of those portable handheld gaming devices that are in the thousands. This is not. This is priced perfectly for the audience. It's cheaper than PlayStation 5, and it's just a little bit more than a Switch. Why not? Why not? Yeah, it's Switch OLED. But if we want to be fair, I mean, the base Switch is probably the best one in a lot of ways. OLED is great, I guess, for $50 more. I think $100 more, but whatever it is, they're all good.
I think the only thing really keeping it going, the only reason people bought into it was this fantasy of it outperforming Nintendo Switch. But
it does.
Within the launch window, it is very apparent to anyone who is seriously looking at this platform that is simply not going to happen.
Anyone that's looking at this platform right now that wants to get a device that has not been on a reservation, that doesn't have a reservation, is probably not going to be getting a device for a good long year. So you'll have time to see if it works or not. If you're watching this and you don't have a reservation, or if you reserved in the past few months, you're going to have time to decide if you want to keep that $5. I mean, I thought it was going to be a little bit worse than that. It wasn't bad. It's just, a couple of things wrong with that. It's just Steam Deck is obviously not dead on arrival. I think that's a really bad take, and I think that's not going to age well just because it's already proven that the Steam Deck is really amazing. Yeah, it has some hiccups, but the Switch had hiccups when it first came out too. Breath of the Wild did not run great when it first came out. So let's any console, like we still can't get a PS5 and Xbox Series X. Like Valve at least is doing a reservation system to be able to put your name down to get one. So really, when it comes down to it, I think Valve is making serious headway into becoming a hybrid console player. So I think his take's not going to age well. It's already not aged well, obviously, but I think we'll just have to see, right? We'll see which one's better in the end. But I mean, at the end of the day, I like choice. I like that we can choose a Switch or a Steam Deck. I mean, once they come out, obviously. And so that is a big knock against Steam Decks, is that if you want one now, I'd recommend getting a Switch. You're going to have a year or two, and then you can get a Steam Deck, I guess. So with that being said, not a bad video. I enjoyed it. So if you have any more videos in mind for me to watch like this and respond, I'm more than happy to do that. It was fun. So thank you for recommending this, someone in the community. By the way, check out Discord. We have a Discord for Games Revealed. It's in the description below. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out. Later.